Welcome to my channel. My name is Tolu. I'm a Christian dating coach and I specialize in showing single Christian women how to go from single to married in a 12-month time frame. Now, if you're a 30 plus Christian single woman that has struggled to get into a committed relationship leading to marriage, you find yourself in dead-end relationships, you're constantly attracting men that don't mind being your boyfriend but do not want to become your husband. You're attracting men that are not taking you seriously, are not planning a future with you, and you are struggling to have a dating life that actually leads to marriage. Then my Dating to Marry program is the right fit for you. That's where I work with you one-on-one for 6 months to go from single to married in a year. Now, if you want to work with me one-on-one and you are over 30, you're a Christian single woman with a demanding career, then definitely click the link in my bio on First Tab to apply to work with me. When I receive your application, if you're the right fit, we'll hop on a call together and I'll give you what I call a dating plan, which outlines exactly what you need to do to change your dating reality from being frustrated to actually attracting the kind of man you can marry. Okay? Awesome. So I wanted to talk today about when you've dated men for a long time, they don't marry you, they don't want to take the next step down the aisle, down the line, so to speak, to the aisle. I wanted to talk to you about why this is happening and what you can do to change this. So let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're in the comments, just drop where you're tuning in from. The first thing you want to really pay attention to is an audit. So when I say an audit, specifically speaking about a dating audit, it's really important to be able to understand why this keeps happening, because I guarantee if you're in this situation, it's not the first time it's happened. You've probably experienced men in your past always end up not dating you after a 3-month period, or you find that your relationships never move past the engagement stage, or you always date in long spaces of time. So what I mean is the last relationship you were in was over 8 years ago. And this current relationship you're in, you already know it's not functional. Your relationships always end up in heartbreak. You always find yourself choosing men that do not choose you. You need to do an audit. So the function of an audit in this particular case is to show you why these patterns are coming up. So you look at what worked, what didn't work, what needs to change for you to be able to get the result that will lead you to the kind and quality of relationship that you desire. So what I encourage my clients to do and what I actually walk them through when we start working together is how to use an audit to be able to highlight the changes that they need to make to be getting the result of marriage that they want. Okay? So for you to step into the marriage that you desire, for you to step into the kind of relationship you want, the caliber of man that you want to attract, the kind of connection you want to have with your partner, there are certain clogs of certain experiences that you need to understand so that you can remove them from the picture and you can have a smooth sailing journey of dating. And the only way you can identify these is by doing a dating audit. The function of the audit is to really show you, by identifying what patterns are repeating, what on your end you can control and what you can shift. Now, this simple process will help you to be able to identify the right men for you in as little as 4 weeks. It's going to put you in position very simply to be able to know the right questions to ask. It's going to change the way you interact with men and really give you perspective as to why your relationships never ended in marriage. So the reason I do the audit with my clients, more specifically with regards to their own particular dating situations, is to be able to understand, how did you even get here in the first place? What are the reasons behind this current experience you're having? And has it happened before? If so, how often? And what were those experiences like? The audit really cleans up and clears up for my clients. It gives them a clear picture, let me put it that way, of exactly how they got to where they are. And the reason why this is applicable to you is you need to know why you're dating men that do not want to marry you, so that you can stop doing whatever it is that you're doing that is producing that same result. Because unless and until you know, you're going to keep repeating that cycle. Now, I'll give you an example of a client of mine that was in a relationship that wasn't functional. Yes, they were exclusive, but the relationship wasn't functional. She was in that relationship for months. She dated him for close to 7 months. She wasn't particularly sure why he didn't want to take the next step in terms of calling the relationship exclusive to the point of marriage. In other words, discussing the future, discussing marriage, discussing meeting of family members, and so on and so forth. Her partner at the time always resisted those sort of conversations. So what I did with her was a simple audit to be able to understand, why is this happening? What are your concerns here? What are your fears here? We really worked through that process in coaching together. And she came out with the result of knowing that this actually isn't the kind of partner she wants. That gave her the courage to be able to step out of the relationship within a month of our work together. So that's the power of doing an audit. It really gives you the control and the confidence to make courageous decisions around the way you are dating. And why I also encourage this, especially when you're a 30+ woman that has no time for dating, you're living on a very busy schedule, you have no active social life, is you really want to be careful around the connections you're making with men. Because what this means, just by virtue of your lifestyle, is any man that comes into the picture is likely to be a long-term commitment, just because your lifestyle doesn't create opportunities for multiple connections with men. You are not social in such a way whereby you attract opportunities to be able to meet various people in various spaces. So when a connection does come through, it is likely to be long-term, but not necessarily for the right reasons. Which is why if you're in this scenario, you will find that you've dated these men for years. You would have dated him for months. You would have, some of you, you would have even made financial commitments to the relationship. You would have even moved in with him in some situations. You would have started to consider what it would be like not to get married to him, but to, you would have compromised your values in such a way where it becomes difficult for you to even reconcile who you currently are. So that's why I work with my clients on initially doing an audit, so that we are clear as to how you can stay in control of the kind and quality of relationship you desire that will lead to marriage, without compromising your values and attracting men that have no intention of committing to you long term. Okay, let me know if this is resonating with you. Tap the hearts. I'm assuming that this live is clear, but tap the heart if you can hear me. If you have any questions for me and you're watching this live, drop it in the question box. So the first reason I just explained in summary is you are dating men for a long time because you are not auditing the way you date. You are not reviewing the way you date, to put it in a better phrasing. Secondly, you don't have a dating plan. Okay, a lot of you do not have dating plans. You don't have a plan for where exactly you want the relationship to go, how you want it to pan out. You don't have a plan for what it looks like to actually tangibly get into a committed relationship in the next 3 months. If I ask you, okay, in the next 90 days, you want a relationship, how is that going to happen? You don't have a plan. And a plan helps you to be able to practically make yourself available for opportunities. For instance, if you wanted to move, you need a plan. Okay, are you going to leave your job? Do you need to have some savings? What's the plan around that? What location are you going to? Are you going to get a job before you move? Are you going to move in with a family or a friend? What's the plan? The function of a plan is to make sure that you are on the right path. Now, if you find yourself constantly dating men that don't want to marry you, it's because you either do not have a plan, or the plan you have isn't working for you. So maybe you have a plan to lose 5 kg in the next 6 weeks, but your plan is just to be working out. But guess what? You don't even like working out. You don't like going to the gym. You don't like walking. That plan is not going to work. You may do it for the first 3 days or so, and then you're like, this isn't sustainable. I'm too tired. Life gets in the way. That's not a sustainable plan. But if your plan was more attuned to, maybe you're really good at nutrition, you're really good at food, so you decide instead to target what you are eating and how you are eating. You can make healthy meals delicious. Your plan will work for you to lose that weight if you apply it in a direction that suits your lifestyle. So part of the reason why you're dating men that don't want to marry you is you just plan to get married. That's not enough. There's no, it's like just planning to lose the weight without actually categorizing and listing how you intend to do that. There's no tangible connection points to be able to track how your plan is working. You are just getting a result that is showing you that this is a bad plan. So you're dating men that don't want to marry you because you don't have a plan that is working. You don't have a plan that itemizes exactly how you're going to make this happen based on your lifestyle, based on your experiences, based on your current opportunities to be visible and to connect with men. So what I do with my clients is I call it a dating plan. That's why I'm emphasizing plan. I help them to be able to create a dating plan that aligns with their lifestyle, that aligns with the vision they have for the kind and quality of marriage and man they want to attract, and takes into account their current experiences in dating. Are you somebody that prefers to meet men virtually? Do you prefer organic opportunities? I was literally discussing this yesterday with a client. She's meeting men online. I've helped her to create. So for my clients, I help them create online dating strategies that has helped them to meet their husbands, their current boyfriends, the men that they are going on luxury dates with, and an organic strategy that has equally helped them to meet men, maybe in their day-to-day routine, meet their husbands at work, at events, just going about literally walking down the street, because both will work. It's just about making sure the plan complements your lifestyle. The reason it's not working, the reason online apps don't work for you and you're not meeting men, no matter the location and the times and the spaces you make yourself available, is because your plan is not functional for your lifestyle. Like the example I gave of wanting to lose weight by going to the gym when we both know you don't even like exercise. It's not going to happen. You want to create a plan that complements your current lifestyle. So what I help my clients do is to create a plan that complements their lifestyle with a target. That's the second part of a plan. A plan is useless if it doesn't have a target. So you will find that if you want to lose 5 kg because you are traveling in the next 4 weeks, or you're traveling in the next 8 weeks, you have a target. So that is going to motivate you to be able to carry out that plan. You need motivation. So I create a plan with a target for my clients so that they are able to understand exactly how to track how that plan is practically being applied, and they are motivated to partner with that plan so that it has the highest possible chances of working. That's why literally, when clients start in my program, maybe we just started working together, they start meeting men, they start going on dates, they start having conversations with men. They are able to track the progress of the plan because they know that this is the path they have chosen. In other words, I'm trying the online dating strategy. So even if I don't match with somebody today, I'm giving it a chance. I'm being patient. I'm being proactive enough to see how this pans out, because the plan is that by the end of 90 days, I should have been going on dates. I should be talking to quality men. I should be getting close to getting into a relationship, if not possibly discussing it with one of the men I come across, as tends to happen with my clients. So the whole point of a plan is an outcome. You need a target. Now you're attracting and you're dating men that don't want to marry you because you do not have a plan. This guy is telling you that he's not sure what he wants to do with his life. He's telling you he's not sure if he wants to, he's literally not discussing the future with you. His questions are very focused on present circumstances. He is not interested in anything that has to do with, your vision, your goals. So clearly you're not part of his plan. But you are dating these men because you don't have a clear identity around what it is you're looking for in a partner, and how that can complement your current dating process. So you shouldn't be surprised they don't want to marry you, because they never discussed that far ahead with you. And even if they did, if you had a plan, like what I like to do with my clients is not only make a plan, have a target, but make sure that it is a grounded plan. Make sure it's practical. If you actually had a practical plan, you will know when you are being lied to. You will know when what you are being told is not accurate. You will be able to know what kind of questions to ask. Your discernment will be more sensitive, and you will know what kind of decisions to make around the conversations you're having with men. So that's why, with a dating plan, it has helped my clients to just literally change the trajectory of how they are interacting with men, connecting with men, so that they are in a position to get into a relationship within a 3-month timeline of any man that they are talking to. Because all the men that they are creating opportunities to connect with will align in some shape or form to the vision and the values that they have in place for the kind and quality of marriage they want, because now they have a plan, they have a target, and they've grounded it with practical steps to make sure that they can track how it is being played out. Okay, so that's the importance of a plan. Let me know if this is resonating. Just tap the heart. If you have any questions, drop it in the question box. But another thing that I've seen why you're dating for a long time but it's not leading to marriage is, I've spoken about a target being like a destination, but also y'all don't have timelines. So a timeline, you have deadlines, but you don't have timelines. A deadline just tells you, I want to get married before my next birthday. I want to make sure I'm in a relationship in the next 6 months. But the timeline is to show you how you are making progress towards that result. So I would ask you to look at the timelines of your past relationships and ask yourself, okay, at each point in time, what was I using to determine that I was actually facing the direction of my result? For instance, I gave the example of wanting to lose 5 kg in 8 weeks. You're going to need to be checking the scale. You're going to need to be checking, okay, are the clothes fitting? Are the clothes more comfortable? Are they getting looser or are they getting tighter? You know, am I feeling fitter? Am I feeling healthier? Am I feeling lighter or am I feeling heavier? Am I getting stronger? Are my cravings going down or are they going up? That is the purpose of a timeline. Because if you have an 8-week, using this analogy, 8-week timeline of wanting to lose 5 kg of weight, obviously by week 6, week 7, you want to be visibly seeing some sort of results. Maybe even if it's not physical, you should be experiencing some sort of tangible result that you can see a difference. Maybe, like I said, your cravings have gone down, you're feeling fitter, you're feeling stronger, you're feeling healthier, you notice that your clothes look better on you, and so on and so forth. That's the whole point of a timeline as well in dating. It should let you know, we've been talking for 3 months, but he's never taken me on a date. I still don't know who his friends are. I still don't know what kind of work he does. He's always asking me for money. He's never discussed the future with me. The timeline keeps you on track. So what I do with my clients is to show them how to shorten the timeline within a 6-month time frame. Because guess what? Men know where they want to place you. I always say this. It's either he sees you as a friend, he sees you as some sort of benefit that he wants to exploit, or he potentially sees you as an intimate interest, whether a girlfriend that could eventually become a wife, or he is looking at you as a potential life partner. Those are the only 3 buckets you're going to fall into. The timeline is your way of knowing which bucket you are being placed in. A man that is talking to you today, that is asking you to come to his house tomorrow, is not looking at you like a life partner. A man that is constantly asking you for financial support and not talking to you about the future in any way, shape, or form is not looking at you like a life partner. A man that is resistant to committing and even has to be convinced to be your boyfriend, or even suggests being your boyfriend but doesn't take that role seriously in terms of showing up as an equal partner in the relationship, does not see you as somebody he wants to marry. So the point of a timeline is to help you to face facts. So what I do with my clients is help them to establish timelines so that they know at each point in time, this is what they should be looking out for on their individual dating journeys, because your journey and your friend's journey is very different. You may be a different age. You may be in a different location. You may be doing long distance. You may be doing, you may be meeting up. You may be working in the same office. You may be, have mutual friends, family friends. These are factors that will come into how your own unique timeline will play out. So what I like to do is make sure that every client's timeline complements their own lifestyle. The reason why generic timelines don't work, like, it's because they're actually deadlines. I want to get married before my next birthday. I want to settle down in the next 3 months. It's very generic. It's not taking account of the fact that you haven't been in a relationship in the last 5 years. You're all the men you've spoken to, it's never lasted more than 2 weeks. That is more important. So the timeline makes you take account of the actual factors that are putting you in your current position. So what I like to do is make sure that my clients are aware of their own unique timeline so that they are clear on what needs to change, what they need to adjust to be able to see tangible results. It's literally how I'm able to get them from, maybe they've not been in a relationship in years, or they've never been in a relationship at all, to the point where you are talking to men, going on dates, and actively pursuing the option of potentially committing to one of these men you're talking to, because your timeline, you're now dating in a way that complements your timeline. So if you've dated men for a long time and they're not stepping into marriage with you, you failed to pay attention to the timeline. You got consumed with the deadline. You got distracted by it. And some of you, you've been in relationships where they've promised you a ring, they've promised you marriage. You've been dating these men for years. You're not seeing anything. It's not going to happen, by the way. But the whole point of that, of me sharing that example, is for you to understand the importance of being real with your timeline. Okay? Now, another reason this is happening is because you are not taking account of your boundaries. Whenever there's a breakup of any shape or form, there's a boundary problem. Think about it, like any breakup you've gone through, there's a boundary problem. It's either you were taken advantage of emotionally, it's either you were your kindness was taken advantage of something. There was a boundary that was crossed. You were disrespected, you were cheated on, you were manipulated, you were dating somebody that you found difficult to even find attractive. There's a boundary problem. Whenever there's a breakup, it's usually linked to boundaries. So breakups are indicative of some part of your boundaries that need work. Okay, so I'll give you an example. One of my clients, when she started working with me, one of the issues she was having is she was getting into the position where men will want to talk to her, they want to have conversations with her, they loved having her on the phone, but they didn't want to see her. Like, they weren't taking her on dates. They would arrange the dates, but for whatever reason, it wouldn't pan out. It just wouldn't happen. And then when I did the audit with her, because like I said, I like to start with an audit, I noticed that her pattern was her boundaries were too lax. She was too available too quickly and sharing too much information, and there was just she was not creating enough desire for men to want to pursue. So when we corrected that simple mistake, what she realized is the men that she was talking to during that timeline were now more interested in getting her attention than they were before. So, she had started working with me. There were one or two men in the picture that were not treating her well. And then we tweaked her boundaries. We tweaked the way she was making herself available. We adjusted the way she was communicating with men. And all of a sudden, these men now wanted to take her more seriously. And they'd been talking to her for months. Now they wanted to commit. Now they wanted to take her on the date. Now they wanted to find out when she was available to just hop on the phone. All she did was adjust her boundaries. Okay? So one boundary can change the entirety of your experience with men. One boundary can make you go from being ghosted, not being in a stable relationship, to actually getting into a healthy position to attract quality men and get into a sustainable relationship. It's just one boundary that you need to tweak. And it's usually something very simple. But with regards to this particular topic, you are dating men that don't want to marry you for a long time because you have a boundary problem, because that in itself is a boundary problem. There's no reason why you should be dating for months, for years, and it's not progressing to the point of marital commitment. There's no reason at all, except you are literally teenagers, early 20s or something. But there's no reason at all for you. If I'm talking to you, you're an over 30 woman, you are ready to settle down, there's no reason why you should be dating for years and it's not leading to marriage. Like my clients, like I'll say this to my clients, and this is what I show them how to do. You should be meeting and getting married within a year. It should happen within a year. There's no reason why it should take longer. It should be happening within a year, and that's the work that I help my clients to do so that they can get that result. Within a 12-month time frame of meeting, dating, you should be stepping into marriage. It shouldn't take longer than that, except for peculiar circumstances, okay? You also want to look into the reason for the relationship. Okay, so if these men are not marrying you, but y'all are dating for a long time, what is the actual function of the relationship? Is there a reason that they usually come to you? Are you providing some sort of financial benefit, some sort of emotional stability? What are you doing that is encouraging this complacency, that is encouraging this passivity? I encourage you to look into it. So part of the work that I do with my clients this is also what comes into the audits, like really examining their dating habits to be able to see why is it producing this result. Like the other day, I was literally talking to one of my clients whereby she noticed that men were disappearing on her. They were ghosting. They were not continuing conversations. And she thought she was just talking to the wrong men. Meanwhile, the problem was she just wasn't communicating in an interesting way. The problem was her conversations. Once she adjusted those conversations, she saw more interest, she saw more engagement with men. So it's important for you to examine. Why I share that is you really want to examine what you are doing in the relationship, what you are doing with these men. What are they? Why are they there? What is he doing there? You know why you're there. In other words, you know why you're in the relationships, but why is he there? So you want to understand. The only way to understand this is learning how to connect and communicate with men in a way that gives you answers. A lot of you, the way you communicate with men, it just produces more questions. You are more confused. You ask him, okay, what do you want? He answers you. You're still unclear, but you're even more confused than you were before. So you want to examine, okay, what are the reasons for the relationship? Something else I would mention is, how can you change the results to meet your husband? So in my program, I have what I call a dating baseline, which basically is just the foundation of what you need to do to be able to even start attracting the quality of men you want. If you're attracting men that don't want to marry you but want to commit to you for a long time but not act like your boyfriend, there's a problem with your baseline. In other words, the ingredients that you are using, the way you're showing up in dating, the way you're making yourself available to your partner, the kind of conversations you're having, the way you spend time with each other, those are the ingredients that form the baseline. The foundation of your dating has a problem. Why? Because any man that stands on it, they aren't interested in moving forward. It's not stable. It's not because his name was Tunde or it was Jim or it was Tom. All of them you're experiencing the same issue with all of them. Then that means on your end there's something that needs to be shifted in the way you are showing up in dating. So it's important to understand what that looks like for you and how it's showing up. Is it that it's showing up in conversations? You will notice if that is the case, you will notice if it's a communication problem, that will be the first thing that takes a nosedive when your relationships end. If it's a problem of consistency, maybe they stop showing up, then it's usually because you were too available. If you're noticing that you're lacking more and more clarity as the relationship continues, it's because you were too invested and too attached. So there's always like a part in your dating process that needs adjustment, that will change just by maybe noticing that, okay, maybe I'm too attached and readjusting that. So in my program, I teach my clients a concept I call casual intimacy that shows them how to build connections with men without getting attached, because when you don't get attached, it naturally increases the desire for men to want to pursue and commit, because now there's something to pursue. Because guess what? They know that you're not attached, so they need to get your attention, your time, your availability. They need to earn that level of exclusivity, and it inspires that desire to pursue. So that's why I teach my clients what I call casual intimacy. But if you're the type of person that is constantly getting attached, you will notice that clarity will reduce. You will feel more and more confused as the relationship progresses, and that is tied to how you're making yourself available. Okay, attachment is tied to availability. If whatever you are invested in is where you will tend to have a lot of vulnerability. Okay, so yeah, another thing I will say is you probably overcompensated in some way, shape, or form. If you're dating men for a long time but they don't marry you, on your end you're overcompensating, you're doing too much. I'll put it in 3 categories. It's usually either spiritual, in other words, you're overcompensating for his lack of spiritual capacity. I'm not saying he has to be more spiritually mature than you. I personally do not believe that. I think you can date and even marry somebody that is less spiritually mature, because you cannot really determine the rate of growth in spiritual maturity. He may overtake you later. You may go through a season where you are stronger in certain areas. It's just multifaceted, and it really depends on the individual and your relationship with the Lord. But when I say overcompensated spiritually, I mean you overcompensated in terms of he doesn't align with your values. He definitely doesn't respect your perspective. Those are just some examples. You know this is a clear no from God, but you're overcompensating. You're trying to make excuses. You're trying to push him into the church. For example, you're trying to make yourself okay with the fact that he doesn't align with your values. You're overcompensating. If it's a soul issue, like an emotional issue, you're overcompensating in terms of what you are putting up with in the relationship. Maybe it's not the first time he's gaslit you, manipulated you, cheated on you, disrespected you, but you're overcompensating in that area. You're tolerating it. If it's a physical overcompensation, you know you're not attracted to him. He is not respecting your sexual boundaries. You're overcompensating when it comes to the fact that he is not in a financial position to provide and pursue. For example, maybe he's unemployed, you're the one that is paying for everything. When I talk about physical, I mean things you can see and experience from a physical standpoint, like money, right? So that's why it's falling into that category. But yeah, so that's usually why they don't want to marry you. You're overcompensating, and all these things you're doing is just leading you to the wrong men at the end of the day. It's not connecting you to the right man for you. But yeah, so this is why, you're dating men for a long time, but they don't end up marrying you. So you're going on this journey that you don't even need to be on, and is a dead end, literally. To change this, you really, like I said, want to do an audit. You want to get clarity on a plan that has a target, that is grounded, that is practical for you to apply and complement your lifestyle. You really want to work around your boundaries depending on how you experience breakups. Like, for example, if you notice that your relationships you always enter a relationship and it ends after 2 months, 3 months, then there's a boundary problem in the initial stage. Maybe you weren't paying attention to the fact that he didn't respect your emotional values, your spiritual values. Whatever is the boundary problem is what led to the breakup. So it's connected. Or it could be that you don't have enough experience dating. You haven't been in the dating pool long enough. Maybe your last relationship was 8 years ago, 10 years ago. You haven't seen any men you find attractive in the last 1 year. So that will be linked to a boundary problem, because that means that your boundaries are out of practice anyway. It's one thing to learn, it's another thing to apply. So you may learn medicine, you may learn law, but it's a completely different experience when you are treating a patient and you're talking to a client in the legal practice. Completely different experience. So that's usually the area that needs work in that area. You entered the relationship without really taking account for why you were entering the relationship. You placed too much title, and I was telling one of my clients about this, like, you place too much stake on what the word exclusivity means without really understanding the context in which you should be exclusive. So that's why you're experiencing these problems, and that's why they don't marry you, because these are the things that you actually need to take account for to be able to assess and properly evaluate the quality and caliber of men that you are attracting, that will also make it clear to you when you are looking at your husband. So I always say dating to marry is completely different than just dating for fun, dating to pass time. Dating to marry is a very clean process that serves the function of getting you into a relationship that will lead you to marriage, right? So that's what I wanted to share. Okay. But the summary of it is, it's completely within your control. These are things that can be changed, adjusted, shifted, removed. And that's what I help my clients do. So if you're an over 30 Christian single woman that you've experienced this, your relationships just always end up catastrophically. You're not attracting men that are in any position to complement your lifestyle or even your values. You find that your relationships never end well. You are struggling to go on dates. You haven't been in dates in close to 10 years now, even over 10 years. You're struggling to re-enter the dating scene because you're a single mom. You're really struggling with body image issues and meeting men that are in a position to match your values financially, professionally, intellectually. Then definitely I will recommend the Dating to Marry program. That's my one-on-one program where I work with you for 6 months to show you how to go from single to married in a year. So what happens is, in that container, I'll be working closely with you to come up with a dating plan that is going to help you practically and prayerfully attract your husband, meet him, date him, and eventually marry him in 12 months, just like I've done with my clients. So if you're a 30 plus single Christian woman, you fall into this category, you want my assistance and help on this, then just click the link in my bio and first tab to apply. Once I receive your application, I'll review it. If you're the right fit, we will hop on a call and I will give you your own unique dating plan that will specifically show you how I'm going to practically help you go from single to married in a year, going through my 6-month program where we'll be working closely together every single week for that 6-month time frame. So if that's you, just click the link in my bio and first tap to apply. If you have any questions for me on my program, feel free to send me a DM as well. Do we have any questions? What part of what I said stood out to you so far? Let me know in the chat or in the comments. If you're watching this live, let me know if you have any questions at all. Okay? Awesome. I'm taking it that nobody has any questions. So I'm going to go now. So I'll talk to you guys again soon. Take care. Bye.